One of my top hobbies besides interior design and iPad is going to try new restaurants, going out to eat, going to bars, restaurants, any type of establishment where I can eat or drink something. That's just what I like to do on the weekends. My friends and I, we're always looking to try something new. But that being said, when I'm going out to eat, it's not always just the food that I'm looking for. I also am looking for a place I want to actually be in. I like the design, I like the decor. It has to have all of the things on my checklist. You know, good food, good ambiance, hopefully good people. And when you find that, that's when, you become a regular at this spot because it's rare. That being said, there's always exceptions to bad decor if they have really good food. I love a good divey place. I love a good divey spot where you can, eat something unique or try a new cuisine or whatever it may be, and it's not about the decor. But the spots that I'm kind of talking about in this video, they're not the divey places that have bad decor, good food. They are the spots that have invested money into the decor and they do and they do a bad job. So, that being said, I do want to speak all of my opinions about restaurant decor because I have a lot of them. Every time I go out to eat, or especially when I go out to eat with Kate, since we're both, design people, we're always kind of picking apart things that we like that they did, things that we don't like that they did. And I just want to put a PSA. Is it a PSA? I guess I just want to put my opinion out there on what I think is bad decor in a restaurant. And honestly, sometimes it will deter me from going there. Even if the food is good, I don't want to sit here. I don't really want to sit there. If that's your vibe, that's great. But here are my opinions on bad restaurant decor. I guess what's the title of this video? I don't want to eat at your restaurant if it looks like this. So bratty. But here we go. First, I want to note the 3 styles of decor that really are popular right now that I absolutely despise. And I've narrowed it down to 3 categories. First, we have the modern boho. This modern boho design doesn't just exist here in Los Angeles, it's everywhere. I don't know what it is about this decor that went kind of ham in literally all cities, at least in the US, especially Chicago, New York, literally, honestly, everywhere. Modern boho is, I guess, very popular with restaurants and coffee shops. Category 2 is industrial farmhouse. The industrial phase of decor in restaurants and I think, coffee shops, bars, that also is a whole thing. You'll see these really long bars with those like steel, metal stools, and a lot of them have, planks of wood across the back, a lot of different iron piping things. And we'll get into a lot of these details. But that was category 2 for restaurant decor I hate, industrial farmhouse. We love that. And category 3, this is a pretty broad category. And again, we'll dive into like all of these details. But I call it chain decor, chain restaurant decor. So when you go into a chain restaurant, you kind of know it's a chain restaurant just by the way they decorate it. I don't know what it is that you can spot it out, but usually it has a lot of, modern touches, booths. It just kind of looks like your typical evening dinner restaurant, in my opinion. But I also think that restaurants who aren't a chain will go in this direction. It kind of feels like it's a restaurant off of a hotel, or I don't know. Something just feels like there is 200 of these restaurants when, there's only one. So category 3 is chain decor, chain restaurant decor. Those are the 3 categories that I really despise in, any restaurant. If I'm looking to go to a spot, I'm always looking at Google Images. I always go to like the vibes. I love how they have that now. So if you look up a restaurant, you can go to vibes and like see the inside. I'm always scoping it out. I'm looking at what, the lighting is, the layout. I don't know. If I'm paying, decent money for a meal, I also want to enjoy the ambiance. And I think that's pretty common, I think, right? Now let's get into some of the more specific details that I'm always noting in my head or out loud, depending on who I'm with. But if you're not, like a divey Italian restaurant, I think an overload of decor is just a bit much. It just depends though. If you're a cute little French cafe and you have, some fun things on the wall, I get it. But an overload of decor in the sense of, why do you have books? Everywhere? Why are there little props everywhere? I think sometimes when people are designing restaurants, they'll design, the architecture of it and have really nice tables. And then they throw in a bunch of random stuff that overloads the decor. And let me tell you a few more items that I think people overload, starting with pillows. If you go to a restaurant and there's all this bench seating, sometimes they put 1,000 pillows. If you've ever, I don't want to call out specific restaurants, but sometimes I will. If you've been to Marate in Los Angeles, really good food. This is actually a really good example of a restaurant that I will make an exception for decor-wise because their food is good, but they have 10,000 pillows in that place. And that brings me to my next point of overloading on decor. And I don't know if Marate has this, but the next point is an overload of plants. I don't know what happened with the scene of decor for restaurants in Chicago and New York and here. Honestly, people love a faux plant and they love a lot of them. They love vines hanging from the ceiling. They love a plant wall. They even love like a little random fake plant hanging off a shelf scattered. This overload of faux plants or faux vines, I don't like it. But again, I will always make an exception if the food is really good, but it's not, high on the list. If I have some visitors coming, I'm going to find the restaurants that have all of the combos. Good decor, good food, good music, good vibes. The combo is tough though. We have to talk about one more faux thing that you see a lot of. I guess maybe not as much out here or more in Chicago, but a faux brick wall, faux brick that goes into like concrete. I guess there are some restaurants out here that have that. I don't understand why you want to have a faux brick wall. Just have a real one if you want. And then lime wash. Lime wash is huge in a lot of restaurants that you go into. I will say I don't mind lime wash as much in a restaurant than I do a house. It makes more sense to me. Like if the coffee shop had lime wash, I'm like, okay, this is fine. You're not like living here because it feels like this like old like stone feel in my opinion. Whereas in a home, I'm like, wait, this doesn't really make sense at all. But I just hate lime wash all around. So I think that's it on my list for just fake things. Like lime washer is technically trying to, recreate these like old walls that, I don't know, where does lime wash really, stem from? I hate it. I do hate it. And if your restaurant has it, don't love that. And if the restaurant does have a lime wash wall, it does kind of fall into the category of this modern boho design, which we've talked about now with like the fake plants and stuff like that. But then there's also lanterns that have overtaken a lot of spots. A lot of places have these types of light fixtures. I don't know why it's so popular. I guess it's affordable. But again, yes, the modern boho design with the straw light fixtures. So moving on. Now, I feel like this design happens a lot along bars or the front of a coffee shop, and that is wood paneling, beadboard, anything like that. This overtook a lot of spots. I feel like it's still going. And it falls into all of my categories of design I hate, of the modern boho, the industrial farmhouse. It's in chain restaurants, it's in hotels. And I do think you can do it in a right way if you want, you know, some wood paneling or whatever. But I don't know what happened. I think it's just this millennial design. And unfortunately, when you invest in a restaurant and open an establishment, you can't just like redo it necessarily. It's a lot of money that goes into these spots. So I think that's why we're seeing a ton of these, I don't know, places around the US. Hi. Hi. Let's take a quick little break to talk about today's sponsor, the one and only Warby Parker. Warby Parker has it all. You can get glasses, sunglasses, contacts, and even eye exams. Warby designs all of their glasses in-house, and they're always coming out with new and fresh frames that are affordable. Warby has over 270 retail stores across the US and Canada, but you can also shop online. You can use Warby's at-home try-on program. It's super easy. You pick out 5 glasses that you like, they send them to you, you try them on, they have free shipping back, makes it nice and easy, especially if you don't live by one of the locations. They offer comprehensive eye exams starting at just $85 and offer free shipping and 30-day returns. They also carry contact lenses from top brands, and you can receive 20% off on your first order of those with no code needed. I got myself a new pair of Warby Sunnies. These are the green frame ones, and then they have, you know, kind of a translucent lens on the inside. I actually really love Warby Sunnies. These guys, and then these ones I'm wearing all the time. I literally have a tray of Warby's that I choose from every day. And thanks again, Warby, for sponsoring this video. Go use the link in my description to go check out their at-home try-on program. You can order up to 5 pairs of glasses to try at home for free. Thanks again, Warby. Now back to the video. Now back to my talk about light fixtures. We already talked about these straw wicker, honestly, the famous IKEA light fixture that hangs all around at different levels around the restaurant. But to dig a little more into light fixtures, I do hate when there's just like the cheap Wayfair, you know, faux brass gold light fixtures, especially when it's a really large establishment. I think, you know, at the end of designing it, you might be, you know, a little lower on budget, so the light fixtures get half-assed, but it does make quite the difference. And I think lighting doesn't need to look bad at all. I think there's so many options out there for a good pendant light, but again, it's like there's this millennial guidebook of what type of thing needs to go in a restaurant, and these lights are the chosen ones. Now let's talk about some art in the restaurant. You know, when you go into a coffee shop and there'll be like artists' art displayed on the wall. I think that's kind of fun. It's like, why not, you know? But the two main things that I don't love when restaurants or cafes have is one, like a giant mural, whether it's like a really big wall that's like palm wallpaper. I feel like that's everywhere, or just like a big mural that doesn't feel super timeless when you take that risk of putting in something super specific to the time. It's just like, yikes, this might, you know, go out of style. I think with restaurants, you want to keep it somewhat classic and unique at the same time. But decor does go in and out, and restaurants are quite an investment. So this like giant mural, you probably will hate. I give it 6 months. And last but not least, we have to talk about lighting because it is the most important thing for a restaurant, hands down, outside of the food, good lighting. If you have a poorly decorated place, or it's just, you know, you don't have all of the funds, and it's fine. You were able to pull the restaurant together. Maybe you have some cheap light fixtures. Dim those lights. Dim the lights. I want to go to restaurants that are dim, not too dim. I don't like when I can't see the menu. But for instance, If you've ever been to Sam's Place out here in Los Angeles, they have really good lighting for a good little date spot. We want it to be moody. We want it to feel sexy. We want the music to be at the right volume. I'm a huge fan of the bar the Dresden out here, and I love the feel. It's very, I don't know, is it 60s? It's one of my favorite spots to go. I love like an old feeling bar, in my opinion, and it has great lighting, but the music is always so loud when they have jazz nights. I love their jazz nights, but sometimes they are so, you can't hear anything anyone is saying. So at the end of the day, lighting is the key component to a restaurant after good food. Because, again, yeah, the decor, we can make exceptions, or we can hide it under some dim lighting. It's not as bad. Or just unique lighting, red lighting, or I don't know. Have you been to the bar Real Charmer out here? They have some fun like red lighting stuff, and I feel like they have faux plants in there, but it doesn't bother me because they're dimmed out. So of course, lighting is the top. But anyways, am I the only one that's picky with restaurant decor? I know my parents, they love when they find a restaurant in Chicago that meets all of the needs, like really good decor, really good food. It's just rare. Also, sometimes I'll go to a place just to be in the decor, and it doesn't even matter about the food necessarily. A good example of that is the Ralph Lauren bar or restaurant in Chicago. My parents love to go there because it is so fun to sit in this old, warm, cozy restaurant, especially in the winter. Is the food the best? I mean, it's fine. It's like Ralph Lauren food, but we're going there for the ambiance. And I feel like that's similar to a lot of hotel lobbies or hotels that I like to go to. I'm just going for the ambiance. And I really should do a video on hotel decor I love or restaurant decor I love. So maybe the opposite of this video, what I like instead of what I hate. But I'll list a few spots that I really like that I just kind of came up with on the top of my head because I was like, oh yeah, these are good. I did mention the Ralph Lauren bar in Chicago. My parents love that spot. It's more fancy. But another spot I love in Chicago is the Up Room at the Warby Hotel. That is A+ decor, in my opinion, if you want a nice spot. I tend to lean more towards like divey and cozy. This is a very cozy bar and has really good cocktails, but it's more like high end and their decor is spot on to me. I love that spot. So if you live in Chicago, go check that out. And when it comes to Los Angeles, again, I love a lot of the more divey spots. Like I think the Prince in Koreatown has really fun decor to go sit in these big red booths and really fun dim lighting. I mean, Tax has fun decor, but I always complain about their lighting. It's not dim enough, in my opinion. Lolo Wine Bar, go check out Lolo Wine Bar. I would say that is one of my favorite spots to recommend someone if your parents are in town or, you want to go to a nice dinner. That decor is so good. Also, the food is so good. So that's kind of and the music, all of it. Honestly, good wine too. So that's a triple whammy, Lolo Wine Bar. I also think Etra has a nice little spot. Lots of wood. That could definitely go way deeper, especially here in Los Angeles. I was trying to think of ones in New York. I haven't been to New York in a while. I've mentioned the Marlton Hotel. I love that lobby, but that's not a restaurant. And I do think Balthazar is just like a staple in New York. I think it's fun to go get a martini there in that type of like old New York restaurant. And I know I have more, so maybe I should pull them together. I should. I know I have more in New York and here. But I did want to give a quick shout out to the Clown Bar in Paris. I feel like that bar was so fun and unique. And I remember their tables, when you got your silverware in a drawer. You pulled it out. Loved the Clown Bar in Paris. I also know more spots in Paris too that I loved. Obviously, it's Paris. There's good restaurants with decor, and same with New York. I feel like it's like LA and Chicago actually that are like more hit or miss when it comes to decor. And then also I had to mention in Copenhagen, the restaurant Kronborg, really into that decor as well. But I've traveled, a decent amount of places that I feel like I could do a full video on, just like restaurant decor I love. If you have anything, or any places you think have the like trifecta, like if you have a restaurant that has it all, list it down below. Because I'd be curious. I'd be curious to know. But yeah, I don't want to eat at your restaurant if you have lime wash walls with a ton of faux plants and really bright lighting. What else is there? An industrial wall with paneled, I don't know, beadboard. I'm just listing everything I just said. Let me know what you think about that. And like, how far are you inclined to go to somewhere if it's bad interior design for the food? Besides divey places, that's a whole nother thing. When the design isn't even a focus, those are kind of the most fun places to go to. I'm talking about when design, gotta hit my lamp because I do it every video. I'm talking about design where they put in the money and they did it bad. So list your faves and the places you dislike, and maybe millennials will stop doing this. I think it is in the past slightly, but I don't know. I'll like walk down the street and there'll be like a new spot and it's I can already see what they're doing. I'm like, we have 1,000 places like this. Stop it. Okay, I'm going to go eat lunch, and then I'm going to go to office supplies, the vintage store. Kate's there. We're working on a big project, so I'm going to go work with her on that. And just a reminder, tote bags are launching March 30th, I think. That's the plan. We have so many fun tote bags coming out. And we're also selling pouches in a pack of 3. So that's very fun. And we have a limited supply per usual. So sign up for the newsletter if you want to find out the time that it's going to go live on March 30th. That's kind of my like secret thing. It's like, if you sign up for the newsletter, you can know a time to get a tote, I guess. But yeah, that's it. Goodbye. Love you. Goodbye.